welcome back to our featured practitioner of the month of June. It's Jodie Vee. Hi, Jodie.
Hey, everybody. Lisa, great to be here. I'm just so excited to join you today and share a little bit about myself and, of course, share you with my audience too. So this is super fun.
Exactly. I'm thrilled that you agreed to do this because we've connected on different aspects. You know, you and I have done, I did a masterclass in January and you participated in that. And then you also took my Mindfulness Meditation 101 class all the way back like in November of, what was that, 2020? You know, it feels like 20 years ago, frankly, with the way things have gone. So go ahead and introduce yourself and how we met and a little bit about your practice.
Sure. I am Jodie Von Comica. I go by Jodie Vee online because it's just easier. I have that big handle from my husband. I am a certified nutrition coach and founder of Aging Strong Life, which is my brand, as well as the podcast Fit Me Forever. And I have been coaching nutrition and fitness for about 7 years, practicing it most all of my life. Before I made the pivot to fitness and nutrition, I was a 30 plus year business professional in financial management and accounting. And really, fitness and nutrition is what kept me sane through those very, very demanding projects and positions and leadership roles all during that time. And Lisa, let's see, we met through our good friend and colleague, mentor, Jonathan Milligan, under the Market Your Message platform. We were both insider coaching colleagues in that, and we've connected numerous times, and watched you get your book out into the world, or 2 books actually out into the world, and like you said, participated in some of your mindfulness meditations and all about that. And we can talk more about how mindfulness does work into my practice with nutrition and fitness as well.
Sure, we can definitely do that. You know, you're the second historically financial professional that has moved on from that field. You know, I worked for Deloitte for about 5 years, and many of the financial coaches that were there aren't there anymore. It's just a very difficult field. And Tom Walters, our March practitioner, is full on mindfulness 24/7. But you've taken a different path. You focused in on your body and making sure that your body is well. And so tell me a little more about the aging program that you have.
Sure. Well, it's so people get a little freaked out when they see the word aging because nobody wants to identify with aging. But the truth of the matter is, from the minute we are born, we are aging. And so aging is a process that encompasses all of life, because the alternative is, right, death. And so how do we age strong no matter what season of life we're in is really what I focus on. And where the mindfulness and that comes into play is being aware of our body and its needs in every season of life. Now, I don't market or, present myself necessarily to every season of the life. It's who comes to me and what are their needs, right? So I can help a 20-year-old be mindful in their nutrition and fitness, as well as a 50-year-old or 60-year-old, because we all have different needs. And what we have to understand is our body is always searching, number 1, for survival, and number 2, for homeostasis. And that is that balance. And at different seasons of life, that looks very different for each of us. So nutrition and fitness play a big role into our mental well-being, the way we show up into the world with our relationships, as well as the work that we've been given to do while we're stay on this earth. So Did that answer your question?
I think so. Yes. You mentioned the word homeostasis, which basically means balance. And
Balance.
you attended my balance workshop at the beginning of the year, and looking at where our lives are out of balance holistically, health being one of the areas to focus on. Nutrition and fitness are so important, along
Mhm.
with certainly other considerations, but
Right.
when you're looking at how you feed your body, paying attention to how you feel after you eat
Mhm.
certain things, I think is really important. So do you use anything like a food diary or a food app? What is some of
Sure.
your process?
So, some of the process, first of all, I am a habit-based nutrition coach. So, I do not focus on particular diets. The market is flooded with do this, do that, da, 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 and they all can work. They may be appropriate for certain seasons, depending on one's goals. But I mainly focus on habit-based nutrition and helping people understand who they are personally and what are their individual needs. Obviously, as humans, we have certain baseline foundational needs in order to function, right? But
Right.
some people perform better with different type of setups. But we're not birthed into this world with um, a manual that tells us, right, how to eat, what makes us feel good, what doesn't make us feel good, how much, all of those sort of things. And what I find is that over time, those important signals in our body get blunted because we're not paying attention. So it's very unlikely for a toddler to overeat, right? Like you would think, a lot of times they will push food away. They don't want any more, or they don't want that. They're very keen on their own needs, right?
Right.
Some
Right.
good, they might want to indulge on sugar or that sort of thing, but probably not. Like at an early age, our body is already intuitively talking to us about what we need. Those signals get blunted over time, and sometimes we find ourselves out of balance. In fact, I meet many adults these days that are quite out of balance, and they don't know how to attack, if you will, bringing that back into balance. So one of the things I teach is metabolic flexibility, how to identify what's happening in your metabolism and how to train it in a way that balances hunger, um, keeps you satisfied, and satisfaction comes from a lot of different things, right? It can be the taste of food, it can be the fullness of how you feel, what is needed in that season of life. So really getting super intuitive about choices that you make, and also pressing into what you would say self-efficacy, that you have the ability to control in a um, in a non-perfectionistic way, right? Your body weight and the choices that you make, and have flexibility. Like I'm all about flexibility and autonomy, and learning how to work within what you're given, your body, and making choices that are appropriate for that. So, hope that explains it. It's a little more complex, but we're such complex individuals that it looks different for everybody, um, based on an umbrella of a framework, if you will.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that you recognize how we are all individuals and we react differently. And, there might be
Yeah.
something that your grandmother made that brings back memories, that really, one of those, there's so much emotion around food
Mhm.
that, yeah, recognizing how it makes you feel, getting back in touch with
Yeah.
those signals that you said we've blunted over time, and we have,
Right. Right.
no doubt, no doubt. Coming from the pharmacy world, I had a near riot when I made them take their lunch break because they wanted to work through lunch. And
Yes.
you know They had an ulterior motive. They could leave 30 minutes earlier, but no, you had to stop and take your lunch break,
Yeah.
take a break and come back to it with fresh mind. And it's amazing when you get to a point where hunger, you start to make mistakes. That's my cue is
Right.
I'm working long enough that I'm starting to make mistakes. I was up here in my head. I was not in my body. And it's so interesting when you get up and walk away from your desk, how your body feels like, oh yeah, there is something here below the neck,
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
body definitely exists. So
There's so much to awareness and mindfulness, and this is just mindfulness in the physical realm, right? I teach people how to work with their hunger. That's
mhm,
super important. I teach people how to work with their environments because different environments bring on different things. And we are not, as humans, we are not robots. Like, and adherence and finding a plan or a way of eating that works for your lifestyle is super important, and that can help you maintain a healthy weight or get to a healthy weight without extremes, right? And I think we are all raised in different food environments, and we take those food environments with us throughout our life, whether we realize it or not. And until we sit back and perhaps get mindful and start examining some of those things and beliefs, we know food is very social. It should be social. There's celebrations. And what I don't like about the current health and nutrition world, or what we call dieting. I mean, I'm all about stop dieting. I want people to learn how to stop dieting and start living and working with their bodies, to come to an optimal place that works for them. And for some people, that might be 10 or 20 pounds, what might be above their average. For some people that might be, I need to lose 100 pounds this year, type of thing. But it happens over time, and it happens with adherence and really getting in touch with your body and your emotions, the reasons that you eat, and finding perhaps other alternatives for that, which meditation and mindfulness certainly can be one of those practices that help people rethink how they approach food and how they enjoy food and all of these
exactly,
things. So,
exactly. So a couple of things as you were speaking there, really you keep people moving forward with what I've heard you call micro goals. So
mhm.
speak to that a little bit.
Sure, sure. Well, anytime you look at goals, right, there's probably some big, outcome down the road that you want, whether that's, a particular weight loss goal, or maybe it's a fitness goal. I want to run a 10K, or, all kinds of different things. For me, it's, I want to be able to deadlift a certain amount of pounds, and we don't get there overnight. And we can get very frustrated when it feels like the big picture goal is so far off. But when we set micro goals are steps along the path that are very achievable based on the skill set and the resources that we have available to us at the moment. And what I know, like especially about weight loss, or any kind of training goal, is it's not a linear process. Like, we want it to go, I'm climbing
Exactly.
this mountain and I hit the summit, or I've decided I'm losing and it's this downward trajectory. And what happens with, I'll just take weight loss, right? You have say you have a 10-pound goal, and you get on the scale, and oh my gosh, I'm up 2 pounds today, or oh, I'm down 1, and it's just the spaghetti rope, right? But
Exactly.
what we'd like to look at is trends. Is the trend moving downward? Is the trend like, hey, I took 100 more steps today than I did yesterday. I'm moving towards that summit. So I like to help people focus on what are those attainable short-term goals weekly. What can I hope for? Recently, I am just personally myself, I am in a little bit of a cut, moving towards physique competition in next summer. So next summer is a long way off, and I have a good bit of weight to lose. Not that I'm overweight, but to get to that level of leanness, right? There's a lot that has to peel off. Very comfortable where I'm at right now. I can step on the scale, and yesterday I was 2.5 pounds heavier after a leg workout the day before.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that happen in the process, but I understand what's happening in my body. There's no way you gain 2.5 pounds overnight. You just don't.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
substrates, it's fluids, it's different things. And so to learn how to have these short-term goals, like for me, a 0.5 pound a week is really, really doable, and it's comfortable. I'm happy with what the progress of that is. And I know that over time, I will be exactly where I need to be. But I also know it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down over the next week. But the average at the end of the week will be a 0.5 pound, because I know how to moderate what needs to be done. And I know how to pay attention to what's happening within my body. And that's what I teach people to do. I teach people how to
Right.
do that.
So how do you, what advice do you have with regard to waiting it out until you get to that goal? Because here's an example for me. I know my body well enough that if I want to lose weight, and I'm very meticulous about my diet because I have medical reason to be meticulous, that it will take me 3 weeks before I actually see anything happening. And then I'll lose 5 pounds, just like that. So my body takes a long time to really say, are you sure about this?
Yeah. So truthfully, everybody's body takes a long time, unless you are very young and incredibly active. Like, in our teens and 20s, we were much more metabolically flexible. Our body would respond more quickly. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? Hormones, activity levels, just that sort of thing. Processes metabolically are a little bit slower as we age, put on years, and aging strong, right? How do we mentally get into the position to recognize that what is happening, we don't gain weight overnight, and we don't lose weight overnight. There's a lot of processes that are happening within the body. So I try to teach people to focus on what's happening internally. I have a lead magnet on my website that is 7 ways to know whether or not your nutrition plan, your eating plan is working for you. And one of the ways is, how do you feel? Do you feel a little lighter? Do you feel like you have a little bit more energy? Are you sleeping better? Are your clothes fitting just a little bit more comfortable? There's a lot of different indicators that can tell you that you're moving in the right direction. Sure. If you, from day to day, you may not feel that, but you can over time, like over a week, hey, I feel like I just feel better. I slept a little better this week because I didn't eat a big meal at 11 o'clock at night and then try to go to bed, right? I've made these little changes. And what I love to tell people, these little changes, they add up over time. And so you just keep stacking those wins. And we don't change overnight, Lisa, right? Like as much as internally, we don't change. Again, our bodies are fighting for that homeostasis. So you're like, okay, you're telling me I'm in a little bit of a calorie deficit, and our bodies are going to fight to hold on to fat because it's survival. It's beautiful. It's what keeps us alive, right? Now, too much, obviously, we have some days of energy stored on many of our bodies, and that can be worked with. And I teach people how to work within parameters to help stimulate that over time, but it does not happen overnight. And I think that's the mental framework we need to place ourselves in, right? Exactly. It's like I'm moving, I'm inching there with these decisions. And like you said, a lot of times the clients I have 2 to 3 weeks, you're right. And I don't usually make changes to clients' plans until we're moving into the second or third week, just because I know your body will fight for that homeostasis, and then at some point it has to give up the ghost, because it's like
All right, let's go.
I'm expending.
Move it on.
Yep.
Exactly. So let me ask you now, I know there's a lot of research about habits and creating habits. And I used to think that it was a 21-day period. And then I did some research in the medical literature about creating habits. And the prevailing wisdom is that it's at least 56 days, maybe even 60 days. So what do you know about forming habits, since you're a habit-based nutritionist?
Yeah. So habits are it's interesting. 56, 21, there's all kinds of things out there, right? I think it honestly depends on the individual. I really do, because there's a lot of motivations, and I have a quiz out there: which motivation myth is keeping you from eating better, right? That's a tool that I use with clients and prospective clients. So I look at motivation is all about energy, right? How much energy do we have to give to a certain goal or that sort of thing? We know that we reach a goal by those micro steps, and that's the habits that we put in place, right? I think it depends on the level of self-efficacy that anybody has. And self-efficacy, I mean, how much control do you have over your decisions, and how much agency do you believe that you have as you strengthen that muscle? Putting habits into place become easier and easier. Do I believe I can accomplish this goal? And what tools do I have in my toolbox that help me be able to do that? Forming habits is one of those things. And what happens a lot of times, people want to go on a diet. I have this big idea, I want to lose X number of pounds, but they don't have the tools in the toolbox to help them get there. And so what happens is you sign up for a plan, you do a thing, and you want to do it all at once. But that's just not how we work as humans, right? Like
Exactly.
we can't take on so much at one time. We might be able to, but we may only be able to sustain it for a certain period of time, because we have not learned to develop, we haven't learned those habits and those tools that keep us on track. And so I start very basically with just kind of a habit wheel, a couple, 6 or 7 different habits. What might I choose in my life right now? What habit might I work on in my life right now that will eventually stack to all 7 of these habits and move me forward and expand my toolbox? So we start practicing those habits. And many times myself and clients, we start on a habit and then we have a blip, right? Something happens in life or whatever, and we go, oh, I don't have the energy to do that particular thing or whatever. And so we are looking for the thing that requires the least amount of energy to start with, where we can gain success and go, oh, I'm ready to layer that next thing on, right? So many people
that is so important. I think we need to really hone in on that if you start on something with these major life goals, that if you try to do it all at once and not find the easy entry point to find that easy success point, you'll defeat yourself. When you find an easy success and you're able to sustain that, you're adding to that toolbox that you're talking about, and it's moving forward. So I think that was a very important point.
So many times, right? And we've all been there. It's all or nothing. It's that, oh, I'll start over again on Monday, or I'll get back on track. So I hear that from my clients all the time. I just need to get back on track. Well, no, this is life. Life happens in the process. So let me give you the tools you need to say, you know what, this was today. or this,
Exactly.
maybe I blew it at this meal or whatever. I have another opportunity today. I'm going to have dinner, in 4 or 5 hours, and that might look a little bit different. And to learn how to be gentle with yourself, as well as disciplined, and gain the ability to have an adherence. So that adherence comes from those little steps. And, so often we don't want to give ourselves that grace. Right.
That's exactly right. And, through many of the things that you've been mentioning, I hear an underlying thread of mindfulness and being self-compassionate with ourselves and being aware of what it is that we're doing and how we're feeling, and that self-correction that you can do. So I clearly think that, if you haven't read 7 Mindful Questions, you are definitely putting this into practice with your customers, which
Absolutely.
is just fabulous. So couple more things. Do you have tips or a message for the audience?
Tips or a message? Oh, find someone that's on your side. You feature so many practitioners, right? Find a Lisa, find a Jodie, find, the featured guest from March or April, or, find someone that is going to help you sort out and attain your goals, whatever they are. And I know so much of the ability to accomplish certain goals comes from how we show up in the world.
Exactly.
Nutrition, fitness, mind, we can tackle anything if we are positioned, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And truthfully, this world conspires against us to do any of those things well, and it takes intention. And so I think what I would send people away with is learn how to be aware and train yourself for intentionality, whatever that looks like in your life, and find someone, a coach or friend, that mentor that will come alongside you to help you move those things forward, so that we need you, right? So you can show up as the best pharmacist possible, or the best mindfulness coach possible. Authors, writers, speakers, ministers, store clerks, everybody. This is for everybody, truthfully. And how that manifests in their life is super important.
I love that. That is just so, it shows how we are all so connected, and we are not alone. And whatever struggle that we're going through, is to find someone to support you is just so important. Even, especially if it isn't your family, find someone that can really give you that motivation, the recognition that you're making progress, that someone to pick up the phone and call when you're having a bad day.
Yes.
All of that is just so important, to have those connections. So one more question, 2 more, but is there something about you, Jodie, I don't know?
Well, there probably is. There's probably a lot, right?
Probably.
Okay, something silly. How about something silly?
Perfect.
And I'll turn this towards food, because it's fun. I love meatball subs.
Okay.
And I'm a huge sucker for a cinnamon roll. So, and I work those things into my lifestyle. Maybe probably one other thing. I love lifting heavy stuff. And as we age, my brand, Aging Strong, strength comes in a lot of different ways, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, but definitely physically. As we age, moving heavy things is super important to our strength, our overall well-being. So,
well, next time I'm moving, I'll invite you to give me a hand, since you like to lift heavy things. And you know what? It's so important for women to hear that, that we can do that. So if it's not too personal, do you want to tell us how much you can lift?
Yeah, right now, my deadlift is at 195 pounds, and that's super fun. I didn't get there overnight, right? I
Holy
didn't get
cow.
there overnight. And that's for one rep. Usually you start small, right?
Well, you are an amazing superwoman beast. That's great. I am so proud of you, Jodie. That is just great.
Well, I want to continue to do that, well into my 80s, have strong bones, and
Yeah.
show other women, how to actually enjoy whatever form of fitness works for them. And that's part of this whole process, right? Is
Yeah,
enjoyment,
exactly.
right? You
Even
need to find what's
if
yours.
it's just being able to lift your grandchild and hold
Yes,
them in a
yes,
way that makes, that would be wonderful. So yes,
yes,
in a way that adds meaning to your life.
exactly.
All right. So last question. What makes your heart sing, Jodie?
Oh, what makes my heart sing? Being outdoors for sure. I love creation and honestly helping people achieve their dreams.
That's great. And
Helping
my
people.
theme,
I get such a charge out of seeing someone smile,
yeah,
seeing someone's success, seeing someone hit that milestone, and just walking that process with them is a joy even in the midst of the struggle. Yeah.
that's great. And June is my month of let's get outside. That's my theme for the month of June. So I'm thrilled to find out that that is one of the things that makes your heart sing. That reinforces that I chose the right person for June. And when we see someone else succeed, it as a coach mentor, it just is
It's
so
the best.
meaningful, isn't it?
It
It's
is.
like, wow, I saw you at the beginning and now look how far you've gone. And I'm just so proud of you. And you did the work. I'm just here shepherding you along. But that I think that's what makes you, Jodie, an exceptional coach and an exceptional person in the way that you work with people. And for my followers, listeners, follow Jodie. She is amazing. Reach out to her. She will help you move your health forward. So where can we find you, Jodie?
Sure. You can find me at agingstronglife.com,
Okay.
and all of my social media, Jodie Vee. I think it's mostly Jodie Vee 7, because there's some other Jodie Vee out there who is a dog trainer, and her and I kind of seem to fight for that space, but she's fantastic. And I look forward to welcoming any of your listeners onto my list, and just to be able to share with them. I really want it out of the mouth of one of my mentors, Paul Axtell. I really I wanted to make a difference that we met.
Yes.
And that is super important to me with anybody that crosses my path in life. So,
All right.
Lisa,
Excellent.
thanks so much for having me.
Yes. This has been amazing. So follow Jodie on her website, Aging Strong Life.
agingstronglife.com, and you can go there and take my quiz, which motivation myth is keeping you from eating better. And I think that will reveal a lot to folks that participate in that. So thanks, Lisa. It's been a joy to be here.
Thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. You are just a wealth of knowledge, and thank you so much for joining. And thanks everybody for listening. It'll be on YouTube soon. And when you see us, then you'll be able to subscribe to both Jodie and me. So thanks again.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.